Among Sony's best-selling consoles, it's a fact that the PlayStation 3 had the roughest start. Difficulties working with the cell processor, a high launch price, and lackluster games at launch. It was an uphill battle for the company. Nevertheless, it persevered, and hosted a range of legendary first and third-party titles. Check out 15 of the best that you should play. Yakuza Kiwami. With how successful the original Yakuza was in Japan on the PS2, it made more than enough sense to remake it for PS3 and PS4 in 2016. On top of further expanding the story, the combat is revamped to offer 4 styles to switch to at any point, similar to Yakuza 0. However, the biggest new feature is Majima Everywhere, where Kiryu's nemesis can appear anywhere. All this together, alongside the classic side activities, minigames, and characters, make Yakuza Kiwami an excellent remake and trip down memory lane. Batman Arkham Asylum. It's not like fun superhero titles didn't exist before Batman Arkham Asylum, but it's more than fun. It's an incredible adaptation of Batman, a serious house on a serious Earth, with some great production values.
Is Commissioner Gordon here yet?
Yes, sir. He's waiting for you down at patient handover. He got here just before you did.
Sharpie loves his cameras. Hey, Sharpie, you getting my good side? Ah, but heck, they're all good, aren't they?
It introduced the stellar free-flow combat system, influencing titles like Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor/War, Marvel Spider-Man, and many more. Perhaps best of all, it's a game that makes you feel like Batman, whether sneaking around and tactfully eliminating foes or beating them down like a one-man army. Dragon Age Origins. Cruising off the success of Mass Effect and the release of Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood, which we don't talk about, BioWare offered something different yet familiar for longtime fans. Dragon Age Origins is a new fantasy RPG set in Thetis, as players select from 6 origin stories, each with a unique introduction, and different classes to battle the Darkspawn. However, at its core, it features excellent real-time with pause gameplay, compelling and significant choices, and some incredible companions. Alice: Madness Returns. Returning to the demented wonderland of the previous title, Alice Madness Returns sees the heroine battling a new threat, the Infernal Train. This means another romp through twisted levels, reuniting with old friends and enemies while solving puzzles, slashing enemies with her Vorpal knife, and even picking up some new weapons. With gorgeous aesthetics and a storyline that adds to the original story in unique ways, Alice Madness Returns is worth checking out. Red Dead Redemption. The sequel may have garnered more attention, but Red Dead Redemption is still an exceptional open-world title. The story of John Marston as he embarks on a quest to locate surviving members of the Vanderlyn gang while facing his past demons is emotionally endearing and backed by stellar voice acting across the board. The world is full of activities, whether you engage in duels, hunt, pursue bounties, or try to stay on the right side of the honor system. And it's a joy to ride around soaking in the Wild West atmosphere. Grand Theft Auto 5. There is no escape from Grand Theft Auto 5, just by sheer virtue that it launched on the PS3 and Xbox 360 back in 2013. If we've said it once, we'll say it again. The fact that Rockstar could deliver such a detailed open world like this with multiple sprawling regions and lifelike NPCs on such limited hardware is incredible. The fact that it did this while presenting an excellent story with 3 protagonists, who you could switch between at almost any time, and an entirely separate online mode that's become its own game, which continues to make millions, nothing short of magic. Infamous. Though known more for the Sly Cooper franchise at this point, Infamous marked a pretty big leap for Sucker Punch Productions, focusing on Cole McGrath, who gains powers and must combat other conduits while dealing with the mysterious Kessler. This is an open-world title where your actions have consequences. Thanks to the karma system, performing good or evil acts will unlock new powers and titles. They would also shape the opinions of the world's NPCs and provide different endings. On top of a fun power fantasy, the missions and overall design of Empire City made it a fun playground to explore. Grid 1. As many stumbles as the modern Grid titles have seen, the first Grid remains a top-tier racing game with multiple regions to compete in and special events like Le Mans. Though it only offered 43 cars, a pittance by today's standards, the gameplay was solid, further bolstered by the use of flashback for rewinding several seconds in a race. Perhaps most impressive is that Grid didn't restrict itself to simulation racing, offering events like Drifting Destruction Derby and more. Gran Turismo 6. If a more in-depth racing experience is what you're after, Gran Turismo 6 has you covered, with over 1,200 cars and 71 track layouts, including hallmarks like Daytona, Nürburgring, and for the first time, the Goodwood Hill Climb. It's simply bursting with content. Visual improvements also ensured it was one of the better-looking racing sims of its time, matched only by its realism and physics. The extensive range of events also promoted some healthy variety, even if it took a few post-launch updates to enrich the package. Ratchet and Clank Collection. What's better than experiencing any of the first 3 Ratchet and Clank titles? All 3 of them in 60 FPS and a higher resolution. While it doesn't add any new content or gameplay improvements, the Ratchet and Clank Collection is still ideal for experiencing the series' original trilogy, including what made going commando and up your arsenal so much fun. Metal Gear Solid 4: Guns of the Patriots. Expectations were high for the series finale of Metal Gear Solid, and Kojima Productions didn't disappoint. The debut of Cyborg Raiden and his battles against Vamp, the Beauty and the Beast unit, complete with their tragic backstories. The Psych Meter and Octo Camo shook up the gameplay in exciting ways alongside the new over-the-shoulder camera. The sheer amount of twists and turns that no one saw coming. Metal Gear Solid 4 is simply a tour de force and a satisfying conclusion to one of the best video game storylines. Uncharted 2: Among Thieves. If Uncharted: Drake's Fortune was Naughty Dog venturing into a new action-adventure IP while trying to understand the PS3's hardware, Uncharted 2: Among Thieves is the team flexing its creative muscle.
Don't stop!
Everything, from the graphics and motion capture to the set pieces, like the legendary train sequence, is a massive upgrade. If the storytelling and performance weren't enough, it also introduced a pretty fun multiplayer mode that was pretty great. God of War 3. The Greek saga may have begun on the PS2, but it would come to a thunderous conclusion on the PS3, with Kratos venturing to Olympus to take down Zeus. Naturally, this meant slaughtering other enemies, leading to incredible battles, brutal new abilities, and weapons. And while the pacing could sag a bit at times, to say nothing of the cliffhanger, this was an excellent revenge caper with some of the best set pieces in gaming. The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim. Before Bethesda decided to re-release it until the end of time, The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim was a watershed moment for open-world fantasy action RPGs. The journey of the Dragonborn and their battle against Alduin was fine, with some decent moments, but it was all about the world design. The dungeons, the random events, the unique locations, and the side quests, especially the Dark Brotherhood questline. The only problem is that the PS3 version is infamously not the most optimized. Far Cry 3. Did Far Cry 3 still deserve its Skyrim with Guns moniker? It's hard to say, but there's no denying that it's still a fun experience. While Far Cry 2 opted for a more grounded sandbox, Far Cry 3 went with flaming plantations with dubstep, reality-bending exploration, and the hero himself, Jason Brody. Story aside, the Rook Islands were full of fun discoveries and unique camps to take down using various abilities and some fun weapons, including the bow, back when every game seemingly needed one.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
And that's the list. My vote personally is for Prototype. How about you? Did we miss your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. And did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? So stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.